This video will discuss how to fill out the Business Risk Management Survey for RMI 3008 Business Risk Management. You need to watch the entire video before beginning to conduct the survey with an actual business owner. The first thing are these two sentences here. This assessment should be completed by a student designated by the ULM RMI program on behalf of a business owner. It should not be completed by the business owner or other representative of the business. There are really several reasons for this. First of all, you must become very familiar with the survey, including all of the drop-downs, before administering the survey. If the business owner had to read the entire survey carefully and read all of the drop-downs themselves, it would likely take them a lot more time. An important part of how we've developed this survey is to reduce the amount of time it takes the business owner, because we recognize that business owners are very busy people. So we want to minimize the amount of time that you have to ask the business owner to spend. Therefore, it's extremely important you become very familiar with the survey so that you only have to ask questions that are necessary. The second reason we don't want them to fill it out is because they may not understand the context of the question. But through watching this and through taking other parts of this course, you should have a better idea of the context and the importance of each question, and a little better idea of what's actually being asked for some of the questions. And in general, you'll know how to fill out the survey, because you'll know, for example, where a question is asking you to check all that apply as opposed to just selecting one answer. And finally, filling out the survey yourself is a learning process in itself. So a lot should be gained just by talking to the business owner. So again, it's extremely important that you don't just hand the business owner or email the business owner the survey. So there are a couple ways that you can conduct the survey. One, you could just print out the survey and fill in the answers in pen or pencil, and then go back to your computer and fill in the answers on the computer before uploading it. However, the problem with that is that you can't see all the drop downs as you're going through it, and it does require you to do double the work. So another way is to take your laptop computer or other device with you while conducting the survey. It is preferred that you conduct the survey face-to-face. However, especially if you know the business owner, I'm okay with you conducting it over the phone. But again, I don't want you to email the business owner the survey and have them fill it in themselves. It has to be something they hear from you. So now let's begin to go through some of the questions. So I've created this macro to hopefully make it a lot easier for you to fill in the answers. And in most cases, wherever you see bold is where you need to fill in an answer or check a box. Some of these questions you actually have to type the answer in, like this one. Some there's a drop down, and then for some, and you see the drop down here, but on this one, if the correct answer isn't in the drop down, it allows you to type in an answer. And then for some, you'll just be checking a box like this. So first, you'll type in the name of the business, and then you'll just select the date that you're filling out the survey. So you would do something like that. And then next, you'll type in the parish or county, or you'll choose one from the drop-down. And what I did is I just put in all of the parishes that were most common in the past for our students to select. However, if you're in a county, select the entire question and type in the county, and then type in the state as well. Next, it says approximately how long has the business been in operation, and that's pretty self-explanatory. How many individuals own this business, including the respondent, if applicable. So in other words, if the respondent is a business owner, you would include the respondent. It's my strong preference that you interview the business owner. There have been a few exceptions where the business owner really isn't involved in the business and can't answer some of the questions. Let me know if that is the case before going ahead with that and interviewing, say, a manager. But for the most part, I do want you to always interview the business owner. So let's say it's the owner and the owner's spouse that own the business. So you'll just type in 2. And in some cases, you'll have multiple owners. But include the owner in that count. The next question, how many non-contract employees, in other words, not employed by another firm such as a subcontractor or temporary agency, a temp agency, does the business have? And then in this case, you don't include the owner. because I'm just looking for the number of employees. And we'll go with 30 hours. We'll go with the ACA definition of employee. And so let's say you have 2 people that work there more than 30 hours. And then you have a couple of people that also work there 20 hours a week. So you would have 2 full-time and 2 part-time. All right, this next one I want to spend a little time on, type of business. And for this, you'll have to actually look up the business OSHA code at this location here. Let's go to the OSHA.gov website, the SIC manual. So this is going to be a 4-digit code that you find by clicking on one of these categories. The broad categories or divisions are agriculture, forestry, and farming. This is where you'll find farms. Mining, construction, and manufacturing are not very often used. Same as transportation and wholesale trade. Where we do see a lot of businesses is in retail trade, occasionally in finance, insurance, and real estate, and services. We see a lot in services, not very many in public administration. We don't want you to do government agencies. That is not acceptable. And I would prefer that you not do nonprofits, but if you do have a nonprofit you really want to survey, you can let me know that and we'll discuss it. So let's look at a few of these just to give you an idea of where you might find some things. It's pretty common for people to choose gas stations, for example. And so let's say that you choose gas stations, and that would be right here, 5541. When you click on this, it'll explain more about the type of business. So gasoline stations combined with other activities such as grocery stores, convenience stores, or car washes are classified according to the primary activity. So you'll want to ask the business owner where most of their revenue comes from, or at least what they consider to be their primary activity. Let's go back then and look at food stores, and this is where you'll find convenience stores that are primarily convenience food stores. And we have here grocery stores, and you see convenience food stores - retail. So if you have like a small grocery store that just has a gas tank, then you would actually use the 5411 for grocery store. A couple of other things under retail trade: eating and drinking places. Okay, this is your restaurants. And the one thing that you need to be aware of is that it's split into eating places and then drinking places. And I have a lot of students that do 5812s. We'll look at 5812 first. So this includes all varieties of restaurants. But 5813 is basically your bars, your taverns, saloons, nightclubs, and so forth. Basically, you're looking at what is their primary business. So it may be a restaurant that serves alcohol, but if they get the majority of their revenues from their food, then you would do 5812. If it's majority alcohol, 5813. I do want to look at this miscellaneous retail. And notice this because this contains a lot of things that you might not have thought about, including drugstores and proprietary stores. So these are your pharmacies. A lot of people want to look under health services, but a pharmacy is considered a drugstore and proprietary store. It's considered retail under miscellaneous retail. So the 59 indicates that it's miscellaneous retail, and the 12 is specific to drugstores and proprietary stores. Another thing I want to point out about this is the category of miscellaneous retail stores not elsewhere classified. Many of these categories actually have a miscellaneous not elsewhere classified, and in those cases it's always going to end in 99. So you look here, and this includes a lot of different things. So let's say that you have a pet food store. You would put 5999. But go back to the survey and notice I say, describe if a not elsewhere classified type of business. In other words, the last 2 digits are 99. Every time it's going to be the last 2 digits are 99. So you describe the business. So you would type in pet store. It doesn't necessarily have to fall under one of these categories. Shoot me an email just to check with me and make sure that it is in fact a 5999 and write it in. On all of these, if you've spent some time on them, and I do want you to spend some time trying to pick the OSHA code, and don't ask the business owner, just do it yourself. If you've really given it a good faith effort, then go ahead and email me if you're struggling to find the right code. The next one I want to look at is services, personal services, contains a few things that you might be interested, including beauty shops and barber shops. So a beauty shop, your hairdresser or beautician, is a 7231, and a barber shop is 7241. And the miscellaneous personal services not elsewhere classified includes a lot of things as well. And I would encourage you to look at some of these things. They might give you ideas of businesses that you know about but really hadn't thought about. This could really help you further that brainstorming process. Business services, similarly, there's a lot of things here. Pest control, and a lot of different computer related things here that I have had students use in the past too. And then we have health services. So this is your general practitioners. 8011 is a lot of things. It includes psychiatrists and plastic surgeons and pathologists, ophthalmologists, so a broad range of things. The one thing that isn't here that is probably doctor that you use is dentists. So that's all going to be here. That includes orthodontist and so forth. Now, keep in mind that the business should preferably not be part of a chain, but if you talk to the business owner and they say that they're pretty independent in terms of how they run their business and the decisions they make with regard to insurance and risk management, then I'm okay with you using, say, a Fox's Pizza or even a State Farm insurance agent. Although those I'm not as excited about because, I would use the State Farm agent as a last resort because even though they run their own business, they're under a lot of policies and rules that they have to follow with regard to, for example, the type of errors and omissions coverage that they purchase. You might actually know a veterinarian that you want to include, and that's actually under the 07 Agricultural Services group. So there's veterinary so check 0742 veterinary services for animal specialties and see if that fits. So this animal specialties include horses, bees, fish, fur-bearing animals, rabbits, and then what most of us have as pets, dogs and cats, and other pets, birds, and so forth. And lastly, what if you have a daycare service? That actually is going to be here under social services, child daycare services here. So look at this, child daycare services. So that should be enough discussion on the OSHA code. Again, if you really get down to it, you haven't found it after really spending some time and making a good faith effort, go ahead and contact me. All right, let's look at number 6. Provide a range of the business's gross sales in the last fiscal year. I will tell you that in the past, we have had issues with this where businesses sometimes aren't comfortable. Years ago, when we first started, we actually asked for the number, and then we went to a specific range, and then we went to a broader range where we only have 3 different categories: less than 100,000, 100 to 9,999, and $1 million or more. What I'd like you to do is ask the business owner to answer this question, but if it seems to make them extremely uncomfortable, especially to the point that they are not sure they want to do the survey, just go ahead and leave it blank and write in next to it, type down here something, that they were uncomfortable. That way we have some feedback on how to structure the survey. And if you feel comfortable guessing, write that in as well. Is this a home-based business? Just read every one of these drop downs before you administer the survey for the first time so that you know what choices they have. For example, in this one, partially, more than 10% of the businesses conducted in and out of the home. In other words, if you do at least 10% either in the home or you do at least 10% out of the home, then it's kind of a hybrid, a mix. So you would select partially. And then approximately what percentage of your business is conducted online. So that includes everything, including ordering supplies, actually, selling, having people research your business online. If those are all significant parts of your business, you would possibly say 10 to 50%. Or if it's more than 50%, 51 to 75. I feel like there's usually going to be a piece of it that's not going to be online. But if it is 100% online, if you're not comfortable with these categories and you just want to type something in, feel free to do that there as well. Does the business primarily rent or own for business use? Okay, so if it's a home-based business, you're going to just click this box. But otherwise, you'll click one of these. And what we're looking for is maybe you have an actual storefront that you own, but let's say you rent a storage unit. If the amount of money that you spend on the storefront or the activities of the business are primarily at the storefront, then I would pick primarily own. And then again, we have property range of values. Sometimes business owners aren't terribly comfortable. We only have 3 ranges here. But if they're not comfortable, you can go ahead and write that in, that they just weren't comfortable. Approximately what percentage of your household income? Okay, on does your spouse work for the business? Not applicable if there is no spouse, if the business owner is not married. And then how many other members work for the business? All right, next there's some questions about business partner. Just a couple points about this. First, you'll say if they have a business partner. If you selected no, I have a spot here on these other questions for no, I do not have a business partner. And then do you have a succession plan? Even if they don't have a business partner, having a succession plan is important. And you don't necessarily need to explain this to them. Part of what we want to gauge here is if they even understand the concept of a succession plan. If they really kind of don't understand the question, then you can put not sure. If they say, well, I think I know what that is, you can provide them a little guidance, just a plan for what's going to happen to the business in the event that they retire or no longer can work for the business because of death or disability. And then these are some of the demographics, male or female, age range. And this is another one that there might be a little trouble getting the answer. If the person is really uncomfortable, if you feel comfortable guessing, that's okay. And what is the highest education of the primary business owner? One way of getting this, if you're not comfortable asking this question, is you could just ask them questions like, did you go to ULM? If you're closer to Baton Rouge, you could say LSU. And a lot of times the answer that they provide will help you fill in this question. And then the next questions, more specifically related to insurance and risk management than the business as a whole. How did the business owner find the majority of their insurance? This is kind of self-explanatory. So take a look at all those drop downs and let me know if you have any questions. From what type of agent or broker? And so if they don't have any insurance, then you would select business owner does not have an insurance agent, an independent agent or broker. And I provide some guidance what that is. And then a captive agent. So you know from your other classes that this is an agent that only works for and represents one company, but I put several examples there that you can give them. And Nationwide isn't here, but this would be another one. Nationwide isn't sold in Louisiana, but if you're in a different state, they may actually purchase their insurance from a Nationwide agent. That would be a captive. If they tell you and they really don't know, go ahead and put that, because we kind of want to know that too. That they don't know whether they have a captive agent or independent agent. So how long have you worked with the agent or broker? That's pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever changed agents, why? They have the option to say, I've never changed agents to get a better price, to get better service, and not applicable. Now, if there's a different reason that they state that has nothing to do with price or service, please list that as well. How often does your agent or broker meet with you? And you'll just put frequency of meetings here. For this question, this is a check all that apply. So I want to know, what do you discuss when you meet with your insurance agent or broker related specifically to your business? So if they say, well, we talk about my life insurance needs, unless they're talking about life insurance needs related to succession planning, that's not pertinent to this question. If they do talk about life insurance related to succession, then I would check succession planning. And I also do have retirement planning for you or your family, and health insurance for your employees. So this is not health insurance for you as an individual or for your family. So anything about insurance that's discussed that is personal insurance, like their own auto insurance or their own homeowner's insurance, that's not relevant here, and you don't need to write that here. So please list any concerns related to the business you regularly discuss. And then please characterize your concerns about the future of your business. So in this table, I want to know what are their hot buttons? What keeps them up at night? What are the things that they really are worried about? Are they very concerned, somewhat concerned, or not concerned at all about all of these things? So we're trying to gauge what it is that really bothers them and where they might need to manage risk. And then please list any other major concerns that you have that are not listed above. And you can delete these lines. The lines don't work as a macro. So you can delete the lines and just type in if they do answer anything further, and it can go beyond just 4 lines as well. I'd really like to see, especially in these early surveys that we do, what they say so that we might actually add them to this table. And it doesn't have to be related to anything insurable. As long as it's related to their business, if it's a concern, it's something that I would like to see here. And then please describe any losses to your business that have caused you significant concern. Anything that they remember. I could put a time frame on this, and I started to do that, but we decided to just leave the time frame off, because if this is something that sticks out in their mind and it was 20 years ago, it's something that I want to know. So I really want to gauge what's important to them here in this number 30. Any losses, whether it was an employee stole from me, we had a fire, or a customer sued me. Even if it wasn't successful, if it caused them significant concern, it's something that I want to hear. Next, please answer the following questions related to purchasing insurance online. And we are asking about personal insurance here as well, so this is an exception, because we're just trying to gauge their willingness to buy online. For the most part, at this point in time, all you can do is purchase term, life, and personal auto insurance online. So I'd be surprised to see them say that they've purchased some of these others online, but we'll see what they say. This next box is, I would be comfortable purchasing this online but have not before, or I would not be comfortable purchasing this type of insurance online. So that should encompass every possible answer, but if it doesn't, again, just make note of that in the survey. Type it in down here somewhere. And then other types of insurance that you have purchased online, please list. Which I doubt there would be any, but we'll see what we get. And then please check any of the following that you've researched online. And you may need to do a little prompting on this one. They may forget that they've done some research. You might say, have you ever looked up different homeowners insurance carriers online, or gotten a quote for your personal auto or term life online? There are also websites that try to help you decide what type of insurance you might need, like a cash value life insurance or a BOP, a business owner's policy. And then please list any other types of insurance that you've researched online. We'll see what they come up with here. And then the last 2 questions are 2 of my favorite. If insurance agents no longer made commissions, and this might be hard to think about, but right now we know that most insurance agents only make money if they sell insurance. There are some fee-based consulting services out there, but for the most part, the vast majority of an insurance agent's compensation is commissions. So would you be willing to pay a fee for an insurance agent's or broker's consulting services if they no longer made commissions? So try to help them conceptualize what that means. And then number 36, if you had to pay a fee for them, what kinds of risk management services would you be willing to pay for? And not necessarily from an insurance agent, because I don't want them to be pigeonholed into thinking about their current insurance agent. And so read through all of these and then add any other things that maybe come up in your discussions. And you might refer back to some of your prior conversations about their risk management concerns. If you have any questions about what any of these mean, I've tried to be as specific as possible, but just let me know if there's anything here that doesn't completely make sense to you. So I wish you luck in administering these surveys, but as always, do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns as you're conducting the surveys.